Welcome, and thanks for joining us today. You're listening to the Women's Broadcast Television Network, and we are here today with our guest. This is WBTVN's Expert Spotlight Show, and I'm actually your host, Shea Vaughn. And I want to introduce you to Kemi Sogunle. And she actually is an expert in relationships. She's a speaker. She's an author. She's amazing. Kemi, so nice to have you.
Thank you so much, Yvonne, for having me on the show.
Thank you so much. And so tell me a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are today.
So I started my journey back at the age of 17. I was raped at 17, but I never really spoke about it because of the family background. I was born into a preacher's home where you couldn't really tell anyone that kind of a story. How did it happen to you? Where it happened to you? Knowing that, I grew up in church. So I kind of hid that underneath the rug, threw that underneath the rug, and started to live my life. I withdrew from being social with other people and kind of became an introvert because of that hurt and pain that I carried for so long. And I think that led me into the wrong relationships. And I got married, and after 15 years of the marriage, I had to get out because of the abuse, and I just couldn't hold on anymore. I had 4 back-to-back miscarriages, and during my healing process, I had 3 coaches in my life, and I still have them. I started to soul search, and I started to really write about the things that what I had gone through, and about what I also see in other relationships that people don't talk about, that we run away from, and leads us to getting hurt, leads us to getting broken. And I decided to go on to train to become a certified coach so that I can help other people. And that led me to speaking internationally, and also coaching internationally as well.
Wow, that's a lot. I just have to say, as you were telling that story, my heart was pumping, because I know how difficult it must be to be abused at such a young age, and just have no place to go. And here you are, a church-going Christian, girl growing up, in a good family, it sounds like. But those things were just never talked about. And many times what happens in those situations is that there's a disbelief.
Yes.
Are you telling the truth? Are you, whatever? So you actually pull back, and you do sweep it underneath the rug because you don't think anybody's going to believe you, or you must have deserved it. What did you do to deserve it? So these are the thoughts and the things that go through our head when those kinds of things happen. Well, number one, I just think that you are a lovely lady that has actually turned that around in your life to make it more positive so that you can share it with other women that probably have gone through a lot of the same things that you have. And now you're speaking out. Now you have a voice. And you've taken that to, you've written a book telling your story. What's the name of that, Kemi?
I actually have 2 books written. I'm working on my 3rd one coming out. The first one is Love, Sex, Lies, and Reality. And the second one is Being Single, A State for the Fragile Heart. Okay,
can you tell me a little bit about them?
So Love, Sex, Lies, and Reality deals with all the lies we tell ourselves, how we jump into a relationship with someone, especially when we're lonely, and maybe we're going through a phase in our lives and we need somebody to be there to rescue us. But we don't really recognize that we need to have values. We need to look at our values, our standards, our requirements before really getting into that relationship. So we hop into one, we get disappointed, and instead of us healing and taking the time out to really sit and figure out the lessons in the broken relationship, we hop right into another one, looking for somebody else to rescue us. And we keep repeating the cycles, and the cycle never goes away. And it's passed on because the children are also watching. The children see that this is what is norm to them, what they believe is norm. And so the limited beliefs set in, and the cycle keeps going on, and we keep trickling down to the next generation without really addressing the issues.
Yeah, and you see it so much because kids learn by what their environment is and what they're seeing is going on. And you're absolutely right. To some point, they just think that's normal. Mm-hmm. And in fact, we know that it's not. And we certainly, as parents, don't want to have them grow up and make the same mistakes or the same choices that were made. Tell me a little bit about, so you actually went from, being raped and putting that underneath the table and not talking about it to a really bad relationship where there was just a lot of conflict and abuse in it. So sometimes we don't feel really good about ourselves and we don't even know it, but we're picking somebody that we think is going to be different, but we know that it's not going to be, and it's almost like we think we deserve that.
We sometimes don't know who we are, and so because we're looking for people to rescue us from that loneliness that we're experiencing, from that pain that we're experiencing, we connect to other people that are also in pain. And pain cannot really exist where love exists. And so when two people come together in pain, it results in a lot of conflict issues, and you never really find that anything's going to work. You end up breaking each other further, and then both parties leave hurt or broken, and without healing again, the cycle continues. So it's more of taking that time out to really know what went wrong, learning the lessons, know what you did, and know what you need so that you don't just hop into the arms of somebody that will break you. Taking the time to love yourself and find yourself.
Yeah, that's a big thing, isn't it? We all know that we need to do that, but I think there's a lot of lost people out there that kind of go, I want to do that, I don't know how to do it. So your book is kind of like some great answers for those people that are, maybe being in the same, situation, or they've gotten out of one and into another, and it's not, not any better, all those kinds of things. Where can they actually find your books, and where can they find you?
My books can be found on my website, KemiOnline.com. That's KEMI online, all one word.com. It's also on Amazon, on Kindle, on Nook, on iBooks, as well as Barnes & Nobles and Books A Million.
Right. And you said that you're in the process of writing a new book?
When I was healing, I wrote 4 books. 2 have been published, and I've won multiple awards. The third one I'm releasing this year. And the final one is my memoir. I talk about all the things I went through and how my pain, without healing from my pain, led to another pain and led me to places where I kept getting hurt. And until I found myself and realized that all I needed was to feel complete on my own. No one can make you complete. No one can fill that void that you have until you find it and leave it before you can begin to walk in your own truth, and then connect to people that are also walking in their truth and are ready to love.
Well, it's true. It's really about accepting the responsibility that there's no magic wand. It's not going to happen just because you're wishing it.
Yeah.
Unless you're mentally attached to that and you're, really committed to make the changes that that you need to do. So would you advise people to seek professional help in some cases when they're just really lost and they don't want to really keep, repeating the same thing?
It's very vital to seek professional help because, professionals are there to support you and help you get out of being stuck or not knowing what to do or how to go about it. Professionals don't judge you like your friends will judge you. Professionals help you to find the answers and help you connect to your true self and set you on the path where you begin to walk in your own truth and begin to live the life that you truly deserve to have.
Right. Did you get professional help along the way then in talking about that, or were you kind of able to figure it out on your own and had some good people that did come into your life and help you to get on the right path?
I had to get 3 coaches that helped me when I was on my journey, and I still have them in my life till today. I call on them when I get stuck with something, and they actually help me uncover because they walked with me through that journey of me healing, and they know me very well. And that's what happens when you get a coach. The coach will be there to know you and know how to help you get out so that when you get stuck again and you come back, they already know how your life is and what you need to do to get out of it.
Well, and I like the fact they're really objective, and it is about not judging. And, many times that maybe we have friends that do that kind of thing that are very judging. I don't really consider them friends.
No.
And in fact, I don't need those kinds of friends in my life, and most people don't. But they tend to keep people around them that aren't positive, that aren't, helping to give you a hand up.
Yes.
And to be sympathetic. And that's not saying, okay, you're allowed to do things that, aren't appropriate. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about somebody who's lost their way and is just, looking for some help to get back on the right track so that they're not repeating it, like you said, over and over again and passing it on to the generations. So another question that I have for you, how many children do you have?
I have one living. I had 4 back-to-back miscarriages and almost 7 months. So I lost the 4 pregnancies, including one of a set of twins. So I have one living, and he's my pride and joy.
I can imagine after all that you had to go through to get him. How old is he?
14.
Oh my goodness. That's a tough age for moms. I know. Well, I think that's great. If there was a message or a sentence or something that you would like to express to the audience, what would that wisdom be?
It's when you find yourself being stuck, not knowing what to do. It may be life, it may be relationship, it may be career related. I encourage you to get some help, get the support that you need, because without getting out of that stage, you will be adding more to what's thrown underneath the rug, and the problems keep piling till you become choked. And when you choke up, it leads to depression. It leads to you having anxiety and becoming fearful of yourself. But all you need to do is connect to the real you, find you, love you, and live the life that God truly designed for you.
Yeah. I was talking to another host the other day in an interview, and she was talking about loving yourself. And one of the things that I said, I can remember, hearing that a lot growing up. And I would finally just kind of like stopped in my shoes and said, you know what? I know people keep saying that, but I don't love myself, being really honest with it. But one of the things that I learned was that as I helped other people and I made better choices for myself and for, just different things in life that were not selfishly made for my own gain, I loved myself a whole lot more.
Yeah. That's very true. When you begin to love yourself, you begin to see that you need to set boundaries. You need to realize that you don't invite everybody and you don't have to please anyone, because we're not created to please. We're created to love. But when you don't love yourself, you don't know that all you do is please people and run and chase them, instead of just setting the boundaries and allow yourself to be you. And whoever will appreciate you for who you are will connect to the real you without you having to do much work.
And I was thinking about the boundaries, because I definitely believe in boundaries now, but I also believe in filters. Sometimes we need to filter the people that come into our life, because I think sometimes we are so giving and you're trying to do so much for other people, and that's not good, but you really have to do for yourself. And you can't just do it, because most people will take advantage of you, and it's a one-way street. And that's not to say every time that you do something for someone that you expect something back, because you should never do that. And in fact, usually the person that comes back and, gives you a hand up or helps you in something is not the person that you helped. And that's just how I think God has put this together, is that we help each other and show up in each other's lives when needed. Yes.
That's the way he designed it. We're created to knit together. It's like the arm saying, I don't need the eyes. You can't walk without your eyes. So it's everybody connecting at a point, but you need to be able to filter out, especially when you come across someone. Why is this person coming into my life at this stage? What is their purpose? What is my purpose for their own life? How can we sharpen each other? How can we support each other's growth? Because without you doing that filtering, you will open the doors and get hurt and blame everybody else, but not yourself.
Right. Well, I have to say this. I definitely believe in collaboration, and I think that's what you're talking about, is really embracing coming together and uniting women together, because they are changing the world. There's no question about that.
Yes.
But there's more lip service that's lent to that than actually actions, because I think that women in generally kind of just slip back into their sexuality,
Yes.
to get what they want. Jealousy just seems to, bubble up when there's no necessity for it. I know, and just putting the WBTVN channel together with my partner Janie, who I love dearly. But I think the thing that really resonates with both of us is that we have never met somebody that's been in competition with us. We've just met somebody that we need to be in partnership.
Collaborated with, yes.
Exactly.
And that's what we need to find out as women. Today I shared on Facebook Live about being lonely. Sometimes we don't know that loneliness is an emptiness within us. And as long as there's that void, when you connect to somebody who's where you want to be at, but you're not there yet, something gets awakened in you to really, wake you up from where you are, to see that this is what you need to do to work on you at that moment so you can get to that level. But without recognizing that envy sets in, resentment sets in, bitterness sets in, anger sets in, and you lose it all. Right. Without realizing this person is crossing my path for me to collaborate with or seek help from, so that I can get to where they are and we can all grow together.
Oh, Kemi, I love that so much, because I so deeply believe in that. I do think that people that come into our life are in it for a reason. And it may not be forever. It may just be for seconds to just find out something, or to listen to something, being in the moment and hear what that person has to say. And it can be, a game changer for you. It can change your life. It can have you maybe just stop and think for a second, and actually help you to see something differently than how you've been carrying around this thought that you thought it was one way, when in fact it's not necessarily so.
I always say there are 10 ways to skin a cat. And I have a quote that says, think before you act, reason before you react. Think, because when you're thinking about why that person is there at that moment, why that person is, waking you up from your slumber, and you think that they're really hurting you, it may be just you needed that awakening to really connect with yourself and really grow. Everything in life is about learning and growing. But without us putting aside the facade and letting our ego ride, we will not be able to grow, we will not be able to learn, and we will miss out on what God has planned in that very moment. Yeah,
that's so true. We just have to realize that we're missing out, like you said, on all the great gifts and the abundance that's there for us, that God really wants us all to have. Yeah. But we just keep stepping on our own toes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So I want to thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so very much.
Oh, you're more than welcome. And I really want to thank the audience for being here with us today, and sharing their time with our expert spotlight show expert with us today, Kemi. And I just want to say that if you're interested in having an interview, you can go on to wbtvn.tv and fill out the form, and we will get back to you. Until then, we wish you the best and blessings to all. Thank you so much, Kemi. Thank you.